Have you ever felt like you feel happy, but you know you can feel happier? Or have you ever felt like, I know that I could feel more peace? You ever feel as if life is cool, but I know it could be so much more exciting, or I know it could be so much more exhilarating? You ever feel like where you are is not ultimately where you want to be, and then you know that once you get there, you will feel so much happier, so much more alive, whether it's a goal you want to attain, a career, a relationship you want to be in, a place you want to live. Do you ever feel as if what you are experiencing now is not as fulfilling and as um, I guess you could say happy as you would be if you were in a different place or in a different situation? That has been my adult life experience for as long as I can remember. And I kind of feel like I've never not felt disconnected from a better version of my life. I always longed for a better version of my life. And even in moments I can look back on and say, those moments were happy, those moments were fulfilling, or I had fun times, it still always felt short of the epitome of what I could experience. So that's what we're going to talk about today. And I actually had a breakthrough, and I think this breakthrough can be helpful to you. So that's why I'm sharing. So for those of you who have never been here before, welcome. My name is Shelomith, and welcome to Shelomith Inspires, another Sunday school from Detour to Destiny. So let's get right into it. The reason today's Sunday school is actually more of a personal testimony and a personal story than a lesson. But I'm excited to share it because today was the first day. I woke up and I felt like I was there. I felt like I finally arrived. You know that feeling you get when you've been traveling somewhere for a long time and you can't wait to get there, and then you finally get there and you have this sigh of relief, this sense of resolve, this sense of, oh, I finally made it. Today was the first day that I can remember, honestly, in my adult life, that I woke up and I felt like I'm here. I'm in that place that I was longing to be in my entire life. I am in that place of bliss, that place of fulfillment, that place of peace. I'm here. And man, I just got to share with you how I got here, how you can get here, and it's not as long as you think. So I'm just going to get right into it. And I have notes because I didn't want to forget to share anything. Because as I was going through it, I was like, man, I really want to make sure I convey what the revelation is for me so that other people can experience this too. It's mind blowing. So here is the thing. When you imagine yourself happy, when you imagine yourself as happy as you can be, when you imagine yourself feeling as successful as you can imagine success attainable, when you imagine yourself in total peace and bliss, what are the circumstances that create that experience for you? Is it because you live in a certain place? Is it because you're married to a certain person? Is it because you have a certain amount of money? Is it because you finally achieved a certain goal? Just take a minute and think about where you envision yourself when you visualize yourself having the best life experience. Take a moment and think about it. Okay. This is what I realized, y'all. The feelings that I would feel when I would imagine myself in this other place, all of those feelings overwhelmed me when I started to live in my purpose, when I started to do what I'm created to do. And it's so powerful because when you exercise the gifts that God have has given you, those gifts are a gift to him and they are a gift to you. The gifts that you have, the abilities that you have are actually gifts to you. They are gifts that give you joy. They are gifts that give you peace. They are gifts that give you a sense of fulfillment. When you are doing the thing you are created to do, you feel as successful as it is possible to feel successful. When you are doing whatever your gift is, you feel as happy, like you are at full capacity of happiness. You are at full capacity of joy. You are at full capacity of peace when you are doing the thing that God created you to do. You instantly transcend mentally and emotionally to that place you think you have to get to in order to feel what you feel. So let me share my personal story. The last couple of weeks, I have been totally immersed in songwriting. I love songwriting. I love singing. Of all the things I love, there's nothing that brings me more joy than, well, maybe speaking, like I'm speaking to you guys now, maybe a close tie, but I still say the process of singing and songwriting. When I'm singing and songwriting, I am in total bliss. All of the emotions that I feel when I imagine myself in Miami, when I might imagine myself in Fiji, when I imagine myself married to the perfect person, all of those feelings that I feel when I imagine that, I feel all of that when I am songwriting, when I'm at the piano, when I'm singing, I feel all of that. And when I woke up today, I just noticed my body. Like I noticed how I felt. I noticed how I it was the first time that I didn't feel like I was in a pursuit of getting somewhere else. This is the first time in my adult life that it doesn't feel like I'm in the middle of a journey from here to where I dream of being. I've never felt that before. I always thought that once I lived in my dream house, I would feel bliss. I always thought once I became successful enough to have enough money to not have to work, that I would feel this utopia. Literally, like I always imagined that once I had a successful career as a singer songwriter and singing and songwriting could be my full-time job. I always imagined that once I got there, then I would feel the height of joy and fulfillment of my purpose. And the amazing thing is, you feel all of that in the moments that you are singing. I feel that when I'm singing, and I still live in the same house. I'm still single. I still work at the same job, but I feel like I thought I could only feel once I got there. And revelation just started like pouring in because I was like, man, you don't understand. I have always felt like I was in this in between place. I've always felt in between. I've always felt like I was striving to get somewhere. And it always felt like I was disconnected from this emotional state. And I was always convinced I would never feel what I wanted to feel until I got there, until I was the singer songwriter that made enough that I could just do that. I always thought that certain conditions would unlock what I was aiming for emotionally and mentally. And the last couple of weeks of me singing and songwriting has unlocked everything. And I just felt God talking to me today saying that that's because the gift really is the gift. Your gift really is the gift. It's the gift that gives you the joy that you're looking for. It's the gift that gives you the peace that you're looking for. It's the gift that gives you the fulfillment that you're looking for. So when you sing, write, speak, paint, cook, create, build, whatever your thing is, when you do that thing, it instantly transcends you to what you are trying to achieve. The error is that most of us think that we have to get the most of us overlook our gifts. We overlook our purpose and we think it's going to take something else, especially with all the conversation around being a successful entrepreneur, being financially independent. With all of that conversation, we overlook our gifts and we kind of put our gifts on the back burner. My personal experience has always been that, or I wouldn't say always, my personal experience was I came to the conclusion that I needed financial independence in order to totally be free. So my thought process was, let me get a skill that will financially secure me. And then once I'm financially secure and once I'm financially free, so let me start a business that's going to afford me the freedom. And then once I'm free, I'm going to circle back around to the music because then I'll have enough time and free time to immerse myself in the music. What ended up happening is I went into software development. So I'm a software engineer. What ended up happening is the pursuit of software engineering ended up being all consuming and I never circled back around to the music. So I went years of being a software developer who didn't sing, who didn't write, who didn't speak, even though the reason I got into it was to free myself up financially so that I could have more time to sing, so that I could have more time to write songs. It ended up being a total detour, and music was far in the background, and software development and going through the daily routine of my life became the only thing that I was doing, and I wasn't connecting the dots. I knew that I felt unfulfilled. I knew that I always felt grieved in my heart and in my spirit. I always felt like something was missing. I always would imagine myself in this place where I'm singing, where I'm speaking on stage, but then I would always feel as if, and I come from the 90s too. So in the 90s, early 2000s, the landscape was a lot different. And it always felt like, unless you got a major record deal, the possibilities of you being a career artist were like slim to none. It also felt like I was so far away from the prospects of ever getting a record deal that it was disheartening. So fast forward, it's just sometimes when the dream or the goal seems like it's far away and it's unattainable, you kind of walk away from it. And you know that you have real life responsibilities and you have to do what you have to do. Which brings me to my next point, which is anytime fear creeps in, fear totally cripples the gift. Fear totally cripples the gift. Here's what I really want you to take away. Listen to this. When you do what you are created to do, you instantly feel the full capacity of joy. When you do what you are gifted at, you instantly feel 100% validated, successful, and blissful. When you're doing the thing, and you got to think about it, the ultimate goal is really the feeling. We just pursue the other things because we think the other things are going to give us the feeling. In reality, doing what your gift is what gives you that experience. That's something to learn. So if that's true, then why did I go for so many years not feeling that? Because sometimes I would pick back up singing and songwriting, but it didn't feel good. And I will tell you why. Because anytime fear creeps in, fear will grab your gift. Fear will snatch up your gift and enslave your gift to produce whatever you are afraid of not having. I'm going to say that again. When fear creeps in, fear will snatch up your gift and enslave your gift to the task of producing whatever it is you fear you don't have. And when that happens, the gift is no longer enjoyable and the gift is crippled and it no longer produces the bliss that it's designed to produce. Because the gift is actually a gift to you and it's praise and worship to God. So let me break this down specifically. My fear was fear of not having enough money to survive. My fear was not having enough money to be financially secure. Once that fear crept in, that fear snatched up my gift of singing and songwriting and enslaved it to the task of making enough money to make me financially independent. When all of that pressure was dumped on top of the gift of singing and songwriting became something that produced anxiety. It became something that was painful because I needed it to make enough money so that I could be financially independent. It was no longer about me just singing and songwriting because it felt good. I needed those songs to create enough money so that I could be financially independent. Another thing that happens to us is that when you have a fear that you are not enough, a fear of not being enough, it arrests your gifts and talents and it enslaves your gifts and talents to the task of having to prove to yourself and prove to everyone else that you are significant. So, what does that look like? Let's say, for example, if your gift is you're a painter, if you have a fear that people don't see you as significant, if you have a fear that you're not relevant, now instead of you just painting, the paintings have to be world famous. The paintings have to be acknowledged by those who are renowned in the art world. The painting has to serve your insecurity about not feeling significant enough. So now instead of you just painting and it being a praise and worship service between you and God and you just feeling good and feeling that joy you feel when you paint, now every time you paint, it's a labor because it's like this painting has to be known. This painting has to have at least 10,000, 100,000, a million likes. And what's driving that is your fear that you're not enough. So now your gift of painting has been enslaved to the task of validating your significance. And it's not fun when that's the thing. Perfect love casts out all fear. You only feel fulfilled in your gifts when you are conscious of the presence of perfect love. God is perfect love. And God casts out all fear when you know who He is, how much He loves you, the fact that He has everything and He freely gives you everything. When I know how God operates, it frees me to free my gift of singing and songwriting from having to provide for me financially. Because when I know who God is and I know that God has everything, I know that whether the song makes $1 million or nothing at all, I am taken care of. Because no matter what the outcome is, it's not the gift that is providing for me, it's perfect love that's providing for me. So, because perfect love makes sure that I have all of my needs, I can just sing and be free and I can just enjoy singing. When you know that perfect love says that you are perfect and you are significant and you are fearfully and wonderfully made, when you know that and you really believe it, it frees you as an artist to just create art. And your art doesn't have to validate you. The response to your art doesn't have to validate that you're significant, that you're successful, because you're already validated. So when you create from a place of abundance, when you exist in your purpose from a place of knowing that you already have everything because you have God and God freely gives you everything, when you create from that place, the gift can take off the shackles. The gift is no longer enslaved And now the gift can give you the joy that it's supposed to give you. Now it can give you the peace and the sense of fulfillment and the sense of bliss that it's designed to give you. Now we're back to the basics of that feeling you used to feel when you were a kid and you would just play and you would just sing and you would just write and you would just dance and you would just paint and you would just build and you would just count numbers and the best or whatever you would do when you were a kid. The obligation of survival, the anxiety about perseverance, I'm sorry, not perseverance, preservation. The anxiety surrounding preservation wasn't present. That's why being a kid was so joyful. But we are God's children. And what I believe happened for me the last couple of weeks that I've been singing and songwriting, it's the first time since I was a kid that I've been in a place where I was just creating to create. It's been so hard for me to pull myself away from singing and songwriting. There's been at least 2 days where the sun came up and I knew I had to go to work, but I couldn't stop songwriting. Like the songs, the flow. I've been in such a heightened state of flow. It's extremely hard for me to stop writing. It's extremely hard for me to stop creating music. And I think it's because it's been restricted for so long. Now that I'm actually in a place where I'm just letting it go and it's not handcuffed, it's not enslaved, like it doesn't have to provide for me because I'm in this place where I know God provides for me. The gift is just flowing. And everything that I thought I had to be over there to get, I have. It's so amazing. I wanted to come on and just tell you, I don't know what your gift is. I don't know what you're talented at. I don't know what used to bring you joy when you were a kid that you put away. But I'm telling you, you need to do it immediately. You need to get back to that thing and don't try to make a business plan out of it. Don't try to enslave it to having to make you famous. Don't try to enslave it to having to produce a certain amount of money. Just get back to whatever your gift is, doing that and allowing it to be a gift to you. So if you sing every day. If you write and just feel how good it feels. If you paint. If you dance. If you cook. If you speak. If you write poetry, write poems. Like whatever it is, if you knit. If you sew. If you sketch. I'm telling you, like the way God engineered us, when we do the thing He gifted us to do, the bliss, the utopia, the sense of fulfillment, the validation that we all are chasing, it instantly floods us. It instantly washes over us when we do what we're created to do. I'm talking instantly. So, for those of you who think you're going to be happy once you make a certain amount of money, I'm telling you, you're going to be happy when you start painting. For those of you who think you're going to feel fulfilled once you meet your soulmate, once you meet the circle of friends, for those of you who think it's going to happen then, I'm here to tell you it's going to happen when you dance. For those of you who think that you're not going to feel as successful as it is possible to feel successful until you make a certain amount of money or live in a certain place, I am here to tell you, you are going to feel it immediately when you start to cook or dance or knit or whatever your thing is. When you start to do your thing, you are instantly in alignment with purpose, because the real purpose of life is to discover God, and you discover God through your gifts. And when you do what God created you to do, it's a direct line to joy, peace, and a visceral experience where you can feel His presence. Everyone thinks that everyone's looking all around their purpose. Like people are overlooking what's right here. It's like it's right here. And everyone's overlooking it, thinking it's somewhere else. It's that thing that you're naturally good at. Because when you do the thing that you're naturally good at, God flows through you as you're doing that thing. And the whole purpose of life is to feel his presence, is to know who he is. And the way that you are the blueprint, you are the clue to who God is. Because when you do what God created you to do, you feel his presence when you're doing it. And you tap into his ingenuity, and you tap into the miracle of how he creates when you do what he created you to do. And that's when you have a God experience. We have our most intense God experiences when we do what he created us to do, because he created all of us as instruments of praise. So you know how sometimes if you think of an orchestra, you have different instruments. You have a violin, you have the drum section, you have the strings, right? Those are all instruments to come together for a composition. All of us are instruments of praise. And he created some of you to be instruments of dance, some of you to be instruments of culinary art, some of you are instruments of singing, songwriting, speaking, whatever your thing is. That's what you're created to do. So when you do that thing is the way God designed you to praise him. So when you do that, you enter into a supernatural, a spiritual realm. That's why it's hard for you to stop doing it. That's why you feel so elated. That's why you feel so elevated when you're doing that thing, because God designed it. He designed you so that when you do that thing, his spirit comes in and you feel his presence while you're singing, writing, speaking, whatever it is. And then in those moments, when you feel that high of all highs, that's when you have revelation. Oh my God, there's nothing greater to achieve than this. Oh my God, there's no greater feeling. Nothing can feel better than this. That's how I've been feeling for the last couple of weeks. Like, oh my God, there's nowhere else for me to get to. When I sing, I'm instantly there. I'm instantly at that epitome of joy that I thought only existed when I was doing somewhere else, doing something else or live somewhere else. The same thing is going to happen for you, I promise. The only way it doesn't is when I said, when fear comes in, when fear of not having enough comes in and pollutes the sacred space of you operating in your gifts. Don't let fear creep in. You got to remember you are taken care of. You have everything you need because you have God. You have to understand perfect love, because perfect love casts out all fear. You have to understand how God operates. And the way God operates is he's always giving you everything you need when you need it. So release your gift to just be a gift and operate in it and flow in it and receive the gift of joy that your gift is putting you to give you. Receive the gift of peace that your gift was putting you to give you. Receive the gift of bliss that your gift was putting you to give you, and give the gift of praise that your gift was put in you to give back to God. That is how you live in your purpose. It's not about a financial goal. It's not about a goal of even impacting other people, honestly. It's not even a goal about um, you know, like how much money you make or any of that. Because what happens is when you get to the place where you operate in the gift, God takes the gift in his hands and God distributes the gift to the world the way he sees fit. For some people, for some of our gifts, some things that we create it and it's just an offering to God, and God holds it dear to his heart and no one else ever sees it. That's a great gift. Sometimes when we give the gift to God, sometimes God takes it in his hands and he says, I want to share this with other people too. And that's what he decides to do with it. But when you're in the right headspace, whether or not God chooses to use the gift or take the gift just for himself or share the gift with other people, you're 100% bliss, because the gift has 100% fulfilled its purpose in the moment that you do the gift. In the moment that you sing, speak, write, create, cook, knit, invest, whatever it is, in the moment that you're doing that, the gift has 100% fulfilled its purpose. Whatever God decides to do with it is up to him. The problem is that we try to force what we think the purpose of the gift is, and the purpose of the gift is just to be expressed. So in order for you to live in your purpose, it's very simple. Go back to what you're naturally gifted and talented at. If you've been so disconnected from it that you don't remember, remember what used to bring you joy as a kid. Remember what you used to do when you would just totally lose time. Remember what that is. And whatever that is, commit to doing that every day. The second thing, or should I say, really, this is the first thing. The first thing is to be in total awareness and consciousness of who God is, of who perfect love is, and how God operates, and how much He loves you, and how much He provides for you, and how much He says you are enough, because that will free the gift from being enslaved to having to subside your fears of not having enough, and your fears of not being enough. This is how you live in your purpose. You live in your purpose by living in your gift. The distance between where you are and where you dream of being is traveled by doing what you're gifted to do. So I really, really pray that my testimony has impacted you. The revelation that I have has impacted you. I pray that it inspires you to get back to doing what you love just for the love of it. Because I promise you, everything that you think you have to do, everything that you think you have to achieve in order to feel total bliss, that's not what's going to give you total bliss. That's why we have so many people who achieve the goal, who become famous, who become rich, and they still feel empty, because that's not the thing that unlocks bliss. Those goals that you have, the achievement of those goals, that's not the key. Those things are not the keys that will unlock the joy, peace, happiness, fulfillment, and significance that you're looking for. The achievement of those things are not the key that unlocks all of that stuff in your life. It's doing what you're gifted to do that unlocks the gifts of peace, love, joy, happiness, healing, feeling God, significance, success, the sense of success, doing what you're created to do, even when no one's watching. Because remember, the gift is a gift to you first. It's a gift to God first, a gift to you second. So unlock the gift. Whew, feel just showered in the gift of doing what God created you to do. And understand that your life is really a you and God experience, and not a you and everybody else experience. And it will totally set you free. So to find your purpose, find what you are gifted at and do that thing. And it will unlock everything else that you're trying to achieve emotionally and mentally. I promise, I promise, I promise. And until next Sunday, be blessed.